Fallout 3 has many different DLCs, each with their own story to tell. Some go to space, some deal with the aftermath of a battle between two of the biggest armies in the wasteland. But then there are others that tell a simpler story, something more down home, something familiar to us all. Can you beat Fallout 3's The Pitt DLC without taking any damage? The Pitt, just like every other Fallout 3 DLC, has no level requirement, so I simply started the game anew. I tried to name myself William Waddlesworth after all the waddling I did in my last Fallout 3 video. Todd Howard had other ideas. I settled on something lame, walked to Dad, could actually look around, and assigned special points the right way. No points in endurance because it's a waste, 10 in intelligence for skill points, no points in charisma because it's also worthless, and the remaining points spread out amongst other skills. And it was party time. Boring, dead bugs. I picked small guns, repair, and lockpick as my tag skills. Felt like I was moving at impossible speeds as I escaped the vault, and almost set my sights on the Pit. The level recommendations I saw for when you should travel to Pennsylvania is 10 to 12 at a minimum. I figured if I was going in at level 2, it wouldn't be unfair to stock up a bit on supplies before sneaking my way inside and becoming a slave. My first stop was the hollowed out rock behind Megaton. You can bet your mother's fat ass that I'll be raiding that rock in every Fallout 3 video from this point forward. I then sold most of what I didn't need to Dr. Huffy. That was a joke. His name is Doc Huff, not Huffy. I wanted to somehow connect it to the Huffy brand children's bicycles, but I could not come up with anything. Take this moment to use the comment section as a Mad Lib and come up with your best way to make that Huffy Bikes joke. The best one gets nothing. Before entering Megaton, I killed the caravan guard and Huffington himself. The cow took more baseball bat bashings to die than it should have. It also stayed closely by its dead owner's side. Kinda sad. Moira performed the role of trash compactor perfectly, and with all the supplies I could think to get, I set off for the Pit. Same rules as last time. Ignoring Megaton, I can stop at any of the locations on the way to the Pit and look for supplies, but I can't go to Rivet City or anything like that. Also, just before starting the Pit itself, I'll set my max health to 1, so that any damage of any kind will kill me. In my last Fallout 3 video, because I was in hell, I didn't get the chance to take Sticky to Big Town. He died protecting me. Luckily, Big Town is a mere stepping stone on my path to the new world, and to show my gratitude to Sticky's friends that he hadn't met yet, I killed them all. Once all the barely not children were dead, I set my health to 1, because I had plenty of weapons. Getting to the Pit without taking damage shouldn't be too hard. Normally, that would have been the setup for me to say that it was horrible, but not this time. I made another stop on my way there, this time at Paradise Falls, for no particular reason. I think I remember having a reason when I was doing this, but I've long since forgotten what it was. Maybe because the Pit involves becoming a slave, I thought to pick up the Mesmetron, but that's just a theory. A normal theory. A couple dogs and their human bitches gave me trouble just below the satellite dishes. The only issue was that the raider had the high ground, putting me in a dangerous situation. It could be over at any moment. I got by them by letting them concentrate their fire on the animals while I sneakily ignored them. Then I met Werner, who was rude to me because I didn't help him with the raiders. I was there in spirit. His eye patch probably kept him from noticing my energy. If he believed in the heart of the cards, he'd have felt my presence with his brain instead of his eyes. The game crashed after I talked to him. It couldn't handle the neutron style. I helped him with the raiders the second time and agreed to sneak into the Pit to lend a hand to the slaves in need. Some do-gooders dared to try to impede my progress. Regulators, some of the most regulated warriors the wasteland has to offer. They died when their lives ended. I had some new toys, and finally entered the door to the Pit tunnel. The rail car and arrival at the Pit itself reminded me of Metro 2033. Same goes for the let me do the talking thing. He isn't as good at using words as me is, so the raiders all opened fire on us. But more importantly, they started shooting at me. There were about as many as you'd expect to be guarding the train entrance to a city. The hunting rifle I'd gotten came in handy here. Then, just like in Metro 2033, I had to split it off from my traveling companion to go it alone. My task is to get access to Ashur, and to find the cure. There's a virus contagion Parasite 2020 full movie HD 1080p watch Parasite movie online free thing going on here. Warner took the concealed .32 pistol out of his left eye socket, stashed it somewhere safe on my person where the guards couldn't see it during an ocular pat-down, and I continued towards the pit. A few wild men attempted to stop me. They're men and women who are now wild. What does that mean? Probably nothing. They've supposedly suffered neurological damage from irradiated water and the sky being sick. I think they're faking. Really, they're just raiders who look a bit different, sometimes. The bridge to the pit was littered with mines, which made for a nice bit of easy experience. A couple pit raiders died right on schedule. A bunch of slaves tried to escape. They succeeded in getting their freedom in one way or another, and I entered the pit. Mex understood whose presence he was in and knew to let me waltz right in and assume my position as king, with Fisto as my beautiful queen. Mex lied to me. Being on this side of a lie hurts. Then, I got beaten within an inch of my life. The noises and screen abnormalities that happen when you take damage happened here, but my health was still at 1, and I didn't die. I was crippled though. Mildew was this generation's victor and patched me up about as well as a slave could hope to. She asked if I was dead. I wasn't, and her job was done. She wanted me to follow her. Luckily for her, my schedule was now open, and I didn't have any plans. That is some wholesome Disney Channel comedy. The joke is that I'm a slave and have to do as I'm told, so I don't have any plans, because I can't. Mildred warned us both about the guards watching. I ran around, while specifically not looking at Misty, so the guards would know that we're totally not in cahoots. Inside her home, she explained to me the plan. I'll strategically be sent out to the steel yard to collect enough ingots to make a set of cobblestone elbow pads in Fortnite. The catch is that the steel yard is full of trogs. Trogs are basically just tunnelers from Lonesome Road, but instead of being part snake, they're part feral ghoul. That's basically all they are. Jackson interrupted our scheming with such godly confidence that he didn't even look at us as he administered his fair and just punishment. I killed him, and that made everyone sad, so I reloaded a checkpoint and did as I was instructed. As a valued worker in this city, I'm not allowed to leave. If there's a place worth visiting, it's in the mill. The mill is where the fire is stored until it's ready to be burned. Before entering the steel yard, I got a free weapon from Macro, an auto axe. How do you automate an axe? Simple, idiot. You make it spin. I saw my first trog on the fenced-off passage to the steel yard. Everett described the steel yard as a death sentence. Other people described it as, quote-unquote, bad. It's really not a place you want to go for spring break. Right at the entrance to the yard is a dead body that conveniently has a free weapon and ammo, and 2 of the 10 things I need to collect. Just past the entrance, I was in horror as Greg finally found his little brother Manny. But Manny, always the freak, killed his brother. I found 3 more ingots inside a dumpster. The steel yard was pretty disappointing, considering how hyped up it had been. I did manage to find Wild Bill, just like I told someone I would. I don't remember who they are, and I didn't remember who they were after I found Wild Bill either. They never got their answer about Bill's life. The auto axe blasted the wild men to death with fresh scents for men that tell everyone that you own multiple tap-out shirts, even if you're not wearing one right now. We all know you've got a bunch of them. The closest I've ever come to being frightened in a computer game came when numerous trogs were after me. Immediately after that fear erupted through my body, I forcefully euthanized them with the memory of how shitty some enemies can be at finding a path towards you. I let them live. Every life is precious. And despite having more than enough pieces of metal, I continued my exploring up to the tallest building in sight. The top of this thing. I know there's a word for it, but I couldn't remember what it was. I got good and stuck up there. As always, turrets become a nightmare to deal with when you can't take damage. This might have been the worst turret I've ever found. For some reason, it was so stupidly accurate and fired at me the second I walked out from behind cover. I wanted to explore, but like a piece of content locked behind a microtransaction, I will never get to see what it is. Eventually, I tucked my tail between my legs with such incredible speed that it propelled me to safety, allowing me to return to the mill with my ingots and almost no pride. A single trog tried to avenge its brother. Their family is dead, and I've never been more happy about it. I gave the steel to Everett, I had my Labrador outfit, and could return to Millie to discuss the best way for us slaves to start a revolution that would end with the masters dead and the slaves in control. I needed to know how she was going to make that happen. There was a minor revolt on the way to her house. Mold informed me that Ashur will be gracing us with his words in the near future, and may even open the arena. The arena. The perfect place for someone who dies when the wind blows a little too hard. I was volunteered for the arena. I had no say in the matter. I'm fighting whether I want to or not. If I wanted to be fighting over nothing all the time, I should have gotten married, right, boomers? Back at the mill, I met Phaedra, who seemed malnourished and eager to watch me die. Good news is, I kept all the stuff I gathered, all the weapons primarily, for the fight in the arena. I thought it would be with machetes or barehanded. It wasn't, which was good. What I really didn't anticipate was the barrels of radiation falling from the sky, filling the room with their fancy air. The problem is that the second the radiation counter ticks over into minor radiation poisoning, I die. Not only did I have to survive the fight in the arena, I had to do it quickly enough to avoid dying from radiation damage. If it wasn't for the limited amount of medical supplies I had to deal with the radiation, I'd have failed. Phaedra heals my radiation between fights, and there are only 3 fights in total. The last one, predictably, was the hardest. Even with a decently high small gun skill, I sucked at landing shots on Gruber, and he was so tough that if I didn't kill him with the first shot, which I couldn't do, he would open fire with his special gun and end me immediately. Once again, I was prepared for this. I used several grenades to blow him up before he had a chance to scream for his mother to help him after he noticed his left arm and both legs have been blown off. With my Freedom 1, Crenshaw showed his power over this dimension by gliding through reality without moving his legs. I got all my supplies back that I gathered in the capital wasteland and was moving up in the world. I was told to speak to Ashur. Why? Couldn't tell you. But when the big man watching down from Haven tells you to stop by and say howdy, you will say howdy and like it. The Raiders, while sophisticated in their thinking about how to handle the many social issues of our time, are stupid when it comes to naming things. The big people live in uptown. The little people live in downtown. A lot of where they live is on top of rooftops and on the tops of buildings. I passed between the legs of Lady Liberty, entered Haven, and spoke to Ashur. I know a good opportunity when I see it. Why start a revolt among the slaves and climb the stairs to revolution when I can just slip the guy at the front desk a couple fingers and take the elevator to the top? I successfully failed at telling Ashur I didn't know Werner. Told him I was joining his side, and just then, the ultimate test was placed on my desk. The slaves are revolting. Do I help the slaves, or restore democracy and put the slaves in their place? I fucked up a while back, and didn't take the cannibal perk, so I can't eat the baby. The one time I actually have a chance to kill a kid in Fallout and I mess it up. Typical. As expected, kidnapping a baby belonging to someone most people refer to as Lord Ashur does not go over well with the common folk. They were maniacs who didn't care for the health of a baby that's actually a damaged garden gnome if you use console commands to drop the baby from your inventory. That's real, I'm not making that up. The Raiders inside are mad. The Raiders outside are mad. Everyone except for me is mad at me, and it makes life difficult. So difficult, in fact, that I went against my motherly instincts and didn't steal the baby. The slave rebellion was going rather well. A lot of them were dead, and because I didn't help them die, their deaths are weightless on my conscience. Midea wasn't happy that I sided with management over the common worker. She wanted to kill me or have me kill her. Every good leader knows that when a worker isn't being efficient, you go for their throat by threatening their family. Mossberg gave up the location of Werner. I was tasked by His Highness Lord Ashur to take him out. The slaves made their stand in the mill with their little toy axes. They all died for nothing. I entered the steel yard, parkoured over some dumpsters. The game crashed, and I found Werner inside Werner's hideout. He, just like the moldy woman, actually expected me to kidnap the child. Werner wouldn't get off so easy. He had no family to threaten, so I took the only thing I could from him, his life, and left the steel yard. From there, I backtracked through the abandoned area, and I returned to Ashur in Haven. The workers are still workers, but perhaps one day, their great-great-great-grandchildren will one day be on the road to being free. With my job for Ashur done, with the rebellion squashed, I completed the free labor quest and beat the Pitt without taking any damage. That's it. There's not much to this DLC. There was barely enough there to make a video out of it. If you enjoyed the video or learned anything, leave a like. Leave a dislike if you didn't enjoy the video or didn't learn anything. Join the Mitten Squad Discord server through a link in the video description. Thanks to the Champion tier supporters as well as other channel members for making videos like this one possible. Follow me on Twitter at Mitten Squad. My name is Mitten Squad. Have a wonderful day.